The following presentation is rated WPC.
My name is William Patrick. Welcome to Filmbuff. Welcome to Filmbuff.
The following presentation is rated
I've made up my mind, don't need to think it over. If I'm wrong, I am right. Don't need to look no further, this ain't last. I know this is life, but if I tell the world, I'll never say enough, 'cause it was not said to you, and that's exactly what I need to do if I end up with you. Should I give up, or should I just keep chasing pavements, even if it leads nowhere? Or would it be a waste, even if I knew my best? Should I leave it there? Should I give up, or should I just keep chasing pavements, even if it leads nowhere? I build myself up and fly around in circles, waiting as my heart drops and my back begins to tingle. Finally, could this be it? Oh, should I give up, or should I just keep chasing pavements, even if it leads nowhere? Or would it be a waste, even if I knew my best? Should I leave it there? Should I give up, or should I just keep chasing pavements, even if it leads nowhere? Yeah. Should I give up, or should I just keep chasing pavements, even if it leads nowhere? Or would it be a waste, even if I knew my place? Should I leave it there? Should I give up, or should I just keep on chasing pavements? Should I just keep on chasing pavements? Oh.
And I would like to think this was only a matter of chance.
Hello, and welcome to Filmbuff University on Filmbuff. I'm your host, William Patrick Coleman. And today we have a very, very, very special episode for you on the topic of one of my 18 favorite movies of all time, Paul Thomas Anderson's 1999 masterpiece, Magnolia. The very first university segment we reviewed was based on Boogie Nights, 1997, and this is the writer and director's follow-up to that. A 3-hour epic drama based in the heart of San Fernando Valley, California, involving about 10 seemingly unrelated stories we begin to discover are all intertwined and woven in and out of each other, and the strange coincidences that bind us all through life. It stars Julianne Moore, William H. Macy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, John C. Reilly, Philip Baker Hall, Henry Gibson, Orlando Jones, Melora Walters, Melinda Dillon, Louis Guzman, Alfred Molina, Jeremy Blackman, Patton Oswalt, Felicity Huffman, Clark Gregg, and Tom Cruise in its Best Supporting Actor Academy Award nominated role, just to name a few. Usually people don't look much into movies. They pay for a ticket and sit down, pay attention to what's presented in front of them without any thought to the deeper meaning behind what is being shown. Magnolia is layered upon layered upon layered, filled with deeper meanings and different undertones, and hidden with themes such as biblical references, maternal abandonment, identity crisis, desperation to belong, child abuse, drug addiction, fatal disease, and much, much more. For many people, it was very hard for them to stop and think about what director Paul Thomas Anderson was really trying to say in this movie, in these scenes, with these characters. Perhaps they're blinded by the pacing or the runtime. But this movie moves me to the core of my soul. It speaks to me beyond words. It makes me love people again. It makes me appreciative for what I have with the people I have it with, despite the faults that they or I may carry. If you'll allow me to explain and join me as I give you a quick guide through the inside and hidden themes of Magnolia, one of my absolutely favorite movies of all time. All those that think they have an opinion on this feature will perhaps see it in a new light from a different angle. After well over 20 years, it would be ridiculous for me to announce spoilers, so here we go. Number 5, the Freemasons. We all know what the Freemasons are. Wikipedia defines them as fraternal organizations that trace their origins to the local fraternities of stonemasons. But blink, and you miss at least 5 quick references and symbolisms of Freemasonry, including Albert Mackey's book entitled The History of Freemasonry, amongst the collection of several books that Stanley Spector is studying in school library. Not to mention the author shares the same last name as Magnolia star character Frank T.J. Mackey, played by Tom Cruise. And speaking of Stanley Spector, a more subtle nod is located on the set of What Do Kids Know game show, as Jimmy Gator, host, stands at his podium during the live tape moments before he has his physical attack on air. A series of embolisms appear on the wall of the set over his left shoulder, including a compass set above a laurel branch. Although it is not specifically a Masonic emblem, it can very easily be interpreted as one with the curve of the 2 branches resembling in some regards to the emblem of a past master, which has an arc under the compass, while the olive branch denotes peace and unity with all virtues exalted by the Freemasons. Another slight nod that cannot be proven for sure to be connected would be the first of 3 stories explained in Magnolia, particularly the first of the hanging of these 3 men. The Masonic legend of Hiram Abiff, Grand Master and architect of King Solomon's Temple, murdered by the 3 ruffians in an attempt to extort the secrets of a master mason from him. Although some could argue that is pure coincidence, well, that would fit right alongside the film's consistent theme of things just happen. Things that just happen. From a certain perspective. On one end, it wouldn't mean anything to you, but from a different perspective, the connection may be too big to ignore and appear completely relatable, such as Exodus 8:2 and the raining of the frogs, but more on that later. The final 2 amongst what may be many undocumented connections come at the same time, as game show host Jimmy Gator prepares to enter the stage amongst his introduction to a live audience with the weight of his unannounced fatal cancer looming over his health, and his executive, Bert, played by the late Ricky Jay, leans in, places a left hand on his friend's shoulder as to say a certain farewell, whispering,
We met upon the level and we're parting on the square.
"We met upon the level and we're parting on the square." The most obvious connection of the 5 in that farewell would be the connection to the closing every Blue Lodge, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd degrees. Jimmy's response is a stern,
I'm gonna fucking sleep, Bert.
You could be so blinded by this distinct reference, you would even miss the gold ring located on the pinky of the left hand placed upon Jimmy's shoulder, with the Masonic square and compasses engraved on it, making that the 5th connection. Number 4, themes of failed fatherhood and regret. This theme should painfully be apparent, as it is consistently thrown in our face between every other story. PTA's father was the great Ernie Goulardi Anderson, a famous television personality who passed away at the surrender to cancer. Although that may seem familiar to a particular tale in this movie, it is jam-packed with issues about a father's cruelty to his child and the regrets and consequences they discover from the long-term damage it creates. The leading one being Big Earl's dying wish to have his male nurse, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, to help pursue his long-lost son, Frank T.J. Mackey, to sit by as he slowly dies. It goes on and on. Game show contestant Stanley suffers from emotional abuse from his greedy, ill-tempered father. Game show host Jimmy Gator, although dying of cancer, fights to reconcile with his damaged daughter Claudia, as her violent, aggressive behavior suggests prior sexual abuse. Ex-game show contestant quiz kid Donnie Smith still struggles with the challenges of his parents claiming the money he made as a prodigy child contestant. And then there's the mysterious worm, but more on that later. Anderson is no stranger to embracing father or father-like figures within his material. specifically Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood, and The Master, but here he's landed on pretty thick. What could be so haunting in the storyteller's psyche that he can't seem to escape this theme, which constantly hovers above his material for decades? Number 3, the date. The date between Officer Jim Curriens and Claudia is a really interesting observation, and Dixon, a mysteriously intrusive and nosy kid, might even play a part in this, as several occurrences seem to happen at the same way. But when these two polar opposites become attracted to each other, sparks fly, leading Jim to almost inappropriately ask her on a date the same evening.
You want to go on a date with me?
Please, yes.
Well, is that illegal?
Sort of.
Then I'd like to go. What do you want to do?
After she accepts, he leaves, and she returns to her hidden stash of cocaine. Jim's travels lead him to an incident shortly after, barely escaping his life and losing his gun in the process. After several officers on patrol assist in helping his search, they are unable to retrieve the missing weapon. Later on that evening, during their scheduled date, Claudia and Jim are face to face at dinner, withholding important information from each other. Thanks to Jim's innocent vulnerability, he caves in, embarrassingly confessing to the incident which occurred previously, yet opening himself up to trust.
Let's make a deal.
I feel like the idea behind that is to establish enough trust in him to fully confess to her addiction, which she eventually does.
You don't know how fucking stupid I am.
It's okay.
You don't know how crazy I am.
It's okay.
I've got troubles, okay?
I'll take everything at face value. I'll be a good listener to you.
I started this, didn't I? Didn't I? Fuck.
Whatever it is, just say it. You'll see.
You want to kiss me, Jim?
Yes, I do.
2 moments to the obvious revelation. One, a very similar incident happens between Dixon, as Julianne Moore attempts to commit suicide in her car by overdose, but is quickly rescued as he breaks into her car to steal from her, but the results in using her phone to dial the paramedics who would come to save her life in time. And the second is the mysterious and timely return of Jim's weapon after the rain, which lands directly from the sky in a completely unrelated location than where he lost it, with no sign or nothing in sight surrounding him to explain the reappearance. Number 2. In the opening of Officer Jim Curriens' story, he responds to a residential distress call from a noise complaint, introducing both him and us to Marcy, a suspiciously defensive woman who is found to be hiding the corpse of a dead man in her bedroom closet.
Whoa! Whoa! What the hell is this, Marcy?
That ain't mine!
Upon her arrest, the officer meets Dixon, who tries to swindle the cop by laying down a performed rap as entertainment in return for some cash, an attempt he claims is assisting with solving the related crime. The officer humors him, but only observes the performance without truly listening to the words until he's affected by the cursing.
Cut it, Coolio. I've had enough with the mouth and the language.
I'm almost done.
Finish it up without the lip.
If he had, he would have noticed keywords that pertain to the movie, foreshadowing specific moments later on in the film, such as,
The good Lord be raining.
among those written lyrics, a slip to the term,
Teach you about the worm.
the worm, is expressed. With so much going on, you might not even notice that term being brought up again throughout the movie until Marcy is later being documented in the police station and being grilled by the detectives hassling her for details on the identity of someone she knows referred to as the worm.
Maybe they had a fight. Maybe it was an accident.
Do they call him Worm?
Want to know where your son is, Marcy?
Is this the Worm?
Help us, Marcy.
Do they call him Worm?
Help us help your son, Marcy.
Do they call him...
Automatically, this connects Dixon to Marcy. But as the movie plays out, and the rare moments we get to see Dixon walk aimlessly throughout the movie, a figure will pop in we never really get a fully good look at. The image of a gentleman in a coat, angled to protect the revelation of his face, and what appears to be a guardian of sorts. All signs point to this being the character known only as the Worm. Upon further research, they should be noted that amongst the IMDb cast list for Magnolia, the Mad TV and ex-American Gods actor Orlando Jones, best known as that smooth-talking Sprite spokesman, is in fact cast as a character by the same name, which is interesting considering Orlando Jones is nowhere to be found in the movie by recognition, unless he's been in front of our face the entire time, as the Worm. But almost more importantly is the mystery behind the character Dixon, purely from the footage that wasn't cut alone by comparison to the absent Worm, and through the lyrics of his song, one could even be distracted and convinced of Dixon's pure appearance representing that of an angel himself. But we might see that coming all along, as well as the constant quote,
It's a dangerous thing to confuse children with angels.
"It's dangerous to confuse children with angels."
No, it is not dangerous to confuse children with angels.
Before I lead us into my number 1 hidden theme from Magnolia, let's take a breather and visit our co-host, the great Ryan Miller, for his segment of In the Field with Ryan Miller. Ryan?
Hey Will, I'm out here in beautiful Los Angeles, California, out here in the field on a chilly March evening here in Los Angeles, California. I'm out here on Magnolia Boulevard, as you can see here in the San Fernando Valley of Los Angeles. This is the street the movie was named after, I think. I'm also standing in front of the Foxfire Room, which is the iconic bar that William H. Macy's character frequents throughout the film Magnolia. Now, I would go in to get a drink, but in order for there to be a drink, there needs to be water. And if you've been following the storyline at all, you would know that the aliens have taken all the water. Yeah, I could have stopped it, and I chose not to. And now they've called my bluff. They've taken the water, every last drop. I'm really fucking thirsty. I'm probably gonna die soon. Everyone will die soon without water. Then it's all my fault. What was that? That just fell from the sky. It's a bottle of water. They just fell from the sky. What the fuck? Another one fell. Oh my god. Water bottles falling from the sky. That's kind of weird. All right, back to you, Will.
So I said, what do you mean I can't drive on the jet runway with my car, you stupid loud bit? Thanks, Ryan. Thank you. And now for my number one hidden theme from Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia. Clearly the movie has its own following, and those who have come quite obsessed with it will no doubt jump straight to Exodus 8:2. So let's go ahead and talk about Exodus 8:2, my number one contributing factor to the flawless presentation that is Magnolia. Number one, Exodus 8:2. And if they'll refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. A classic passage contained within the Bible. A message the Lord told Moses to bring to the Pharaoh as a result of action to him and his Egyptian people considered the amphibian sacred. Perhaps you could already see the connection I'm about to make here, and no doubt those who have been obsessive over the movie over the last 20 years are well aware of the hidden messages between Exodus 8:2 that are placed throughout the movie, equivalent to about every 10 to 15 minutes, from signs in the audience of What Do Kids Know game show, to bus shelters, to coils of rope on top of a rooftop.
Yes. All I need is a tube. All you need is a deuce. All right. That is an 8.
Infamous moments of the movie arrives 2 hours and 45 minutes in, when suddenly, at the height of everybody's story and at their most lost state in the narrative, as well as the timing placed right after a musical interlude between all the characters stopping where they are in their stories just to recite musical artists and PTA's friend Amy Mann to her soft melodic track Wise Up.
It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop till you rise up.
The sky suddenly rains, a storm of frogs. No warning, no preparation. Those who first saw the movie expecting much more of an explosion of mainstream catering as a result to the jam-packed list of actors attached, no doubt left around this time in the movie with their arms in the air and their patience completely taken advantage of, cursing the unpredictable sequence and hanging the whole movie based on their feelings towards that.
The frogs falling from the sky.
That's a shame. That's a real fucking shame. As I mentioned before, the opening of the movie tells three bizarre stories that hang on to one common theme. No matter how much weird moments in our life seem just like a coincidence, it certainly is not. The whole movie also narrated by Ricky Jay himself. The moment that this comes into play within the film, every character we have been following finds themselves at their most vulnerable and directionless than they've ever been, and the moment that the sequence comes to pass, every single character is well on the road to their self-recovery and self-realization. If you've had enough of a awakening on the topic of this movie, I'd like to give it the first Filmbuff University grade of an A even. A fucking even. Paul Thomas Anderson is a storytelling genius, and although There Will Be Blood and The Master are his more celebrated work, garnishing several Academy Award and other celebrated award nominations across the board, it is my distinct pleasure to disagree with Magnolia being my personal favorite of his work. And there you have it. Or do we? It would be silly to assume that with as much as we've seen, and as long as it's been around, we may have missed another clue to the mystery behind this epic monstrosity of a movie filled with great performances, some of the best screenwriting I've ever witnessed, and a soulful soundtrack written and sung by Academy Award nominated musical composer Amy Mann.
Save me, but don't you save me if you could. Save me from the ranks of the freaks who suspect they could never love anyone except the freaks who suspect they could never love.
Wife to the great Michael Penn, who also composed and appears in a quick cameo as a musical sound engineer to Mark Wahlberg in Boogie Nights. But this is the rare kind of movie that has that exact power. One that gives you a reason to fall in love with it all over again. There is art of all kinds in this world, ranging from sketchwork to custom designing to set designing and musical score. Yet film is the only form of art that has the capability of uniting all of them at the height of the most talented. If we allow it, it has the capability to move the entire world and possibly unite it. Magnolia, written and directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, is one of those movies void of special effects, distracting heroics, and the lack of sequel threats that remind us of the power of human relation. Filled with gorgeous shots, careful camera framework, fantastic character development, delivered by beautiful studied acting, it is not only the movie of that year or that decade. Over time, Magnolia has become the movie of my life, and I'm grateful to be talking about it with you today. That's all for Filmbuff University here on Filmbuff. I'm William Patrick Coleman, and remember, the book says we may be through with the past, but the past isn't through with us.
Sports and milk, sports and milk,
Could you
sports
just
and
be
milk.
quiet?
Sports, sports and milk, sports and milk, sports
Could
and
you
milk.
just be quiet? I'm trying to concentrate.
Milk.
Be quiet.
I don't mean to be a jerk. I need to concentrate here.
Okay, cut. One more time. You're right, Paul. It's not going to be in the movie. Ready?
Sports and milk, science, art, milk and sports.
I don't mean to be a jerk here. I'm just trying to concentrate.
Okay, good. Now variation. One more.
126 Baker, take 4.
Sports and milk, sports and milk.
You just gotta be quiet, Louis.
Louis, I don't mean to be a jerk. I'm just trying to concentrate here.
And set. Ready. And action.
Sports and milk, sports and milk. Oh my God!
I don't mean to be a jerk. I just need to concentrate for a second.
Oh, shit.
Cut. Set.
Sports and milk, sports and milk, sports and milk, sports and milk, sports.
Louis, I don't mean to be a jerk. I just need to concentrate here.
Early. And set. Ready. And action.
Sports and milk, sports and milk,
Louis,
sports
would you
and
just be quiet, please?
Louis, I don't mean to be a jerk. I just need to concentrate here.
fucking milk. Oh, that fucking bitch. Motherfucker, dick. Come here, motherfucker!
Camera set. Ready. And action.
Sports and milk, sports and milk.
Would you please be quiet,
Louis, I just need to concentrate here.
It's not ground area, man.
Alright, one more time, please.
Milk and sports. I'm milking sports. What? Milk?
Oh, shit!
Motherfucker! Oh, I can't fucking go out. I'm gonna get that motherfucker. Oh, fucking. I wanna get the milk and I wanna see my fucking director right now. I wanna fuck him up. Cut the camera. Don't worry about it. It's not over. Don't fucking clap yet. Don't fucking clap.
Let's on, let's on, let's on, go. Let's on, let's on, let's on, go. Let's on, let's on, let's on, go. Let's on, let's on, let's on.